a scandal on OSP. Now, Oje bribe $40,000. OSP. Embra Bontimbe Kanche says, "Sa OMCs no. Sika sen Ojeji omoho."
Abusia mamu akwaba Emra Brighter Media. So Kelvin Taylor drop fresh information at the Afa Special Prosecutor Metre Kissi Agyabeng ho amasisi ameno kasei. And some freche banabusia esawani and some me enemy catch quick one. Yenya kunya na yentu mikanko na yenti allegations and afenu information sa Kelvin Taylor a drop at the Afa OSP amasisi ameno kasei. Bribe hun sem nyina epiepiem ba quick one. Yenya kunya na yenti nsem no.
The petition against the EC boss, the OSP. I just need a screenshot to place on the system. Now, Asem I told you and say, OSP no, any a year EC boss and the deputies na the petition akoma president. President a pushy petition no edi akoma a year dien. Akoma a year chief justice no. There's something going on. Now, I can tell you, sa petition na yedikoma chief justice no. Somebody from the OSP's office eliki sa petition no edikoma City News. You see what they are doing? Enyumre sa petition na President Epushi Diakoma Chief Justice now Chief Justice and making sure say OSP any is in Sakano. Is in Sakane dear before OSP. OSP in Saka petition na no likima City News. You see what kissi Agyabeng any the group in here. The OSP got that petition, the copy of the petition from the Chief Justice this afternoon. Now, the Chief Justice wrote to the OSP, forwarded the petition for his response. The moment the OSP received the petition, and Opushima City News is a Omuliki petition in the system. And this is the diabolic thing. Kissi Agyabeng and any and the deputies no the OSP's office. On Sandra Mekajam say Akurugu. Sexual harassment case be done so OSP office. Kissi Agyabeng has decided not to touch that matter. Now, and I can tell you, the OSP received the petition from the Chief Justice for his response. The moment he received the petition, no, and Odema Bernard Avlemo, and Okache City say, "Omunliki petition." No. So as we speak, City say they have come out to tell Ghana for say they have been able to intercept the petition from the Chief Justice to the OSP. OSP and the petition no Emma Bernard Avle. And Sky mo said they should leak the petition because they want to blow the matter up. They don't want anything to be in secrecy. They want to murder the case. Inti the omo yan say omo per se omo call for no start enter case no say case ni basis. So say City catch say they have intercepted the petition from the chief the petition that was sent to the OSP. Kissi Agyabeng and Samedako and this petition City News. Yes. Samedako gave the petition to City for them to leak the petition. The Chief Justice told them in secrecy that I need your response. This is the allegations against you. We need your response. Why OSP Samedako Modema City. That is why Mr. S, get him the screenshot. City for say they have intercepted their line. Now, the last time I'm hear a scandal on OSP, Mekacham say Kissi Agyabeng is one person on your truthful to Ghanaians. And then I may say scandal na Mekacham say OMCs na Mustafa Hamid mo ejiji sika omo de koma Bawumia koye campaign no. OSP Embra Bontin Mekanche say sa OMCs no. Sika say na ojiji omo ho. Now, so when you just go I don't want charge any of the OMCs. Ever seen the Oma answer? Fine. Now, do you remember Eduahin? Eduahin Anas scandal one who na orje bribe $40,000. Besides, get me the video. Orje $40,000 a leading to his sack and answer his resignation from Akufo-Addo's government. Mokai Eduahin. Yes. Mokai says case no. OSP at the end of the day was the one investigating that expose Anas on Eduahin. Make sure who Kissi Agyabeng is. Sa investigations no. Time a video never out. Anas sa investigations na who say Eduahin add $40,000 no. Yen yina video ni bi. And the catcher OSP say he is the one or yes investigations. Now the question here is, or your investigations, what did he discover? Say, or your investigations, or your way, then no catch OSP catch say Eduahin committed crime and also uncommitted crime. Now say Eduahin uncommitted crime. Nyoma esi was investigations why was the OSP still following what actually happened? Me catch Charles Eduahin Asem, Charles Eduahin. Now Oya Minister of State, Finance. Okay, now Akufo-Addo office no. Thank you, Mr. S. Now, remember Chawa DB. I want to prove to you, say, Kissi Agyabeng on Kanokre. Now, see this letter. Me know about read the letter we own. Time a Kissi Agyabeng investigating matter no. Obeka kire say Eduahin and committed crime bia after Anas expose no. Charles Eduahin. Now, when you read his own investigative report, let me put it on the screen. Point 614, 615, and 7. There's something in his own report. On one Messiah, get me the first page because we need to let Ghanaians know. Say we are reading from the OSP's own report. Besides, let me see if I can get it myself. Yes, my main for we inchamo and sana made the report to actually. Sana beya, we are na ba petition we Asem so. Me mama who the kind of person Kissi Agyabeng is. Now, sa investigations we and Kissi Agyabeng ye when Charles Eduahin Asem the buy. Make sure they think they can get away with murder. Make sure my dear. This is the investigation, sir. Charles Eduahin, Anas here an expose. Charles Eduahin edge bribe. Okay. Reports of investigation into alleged commission of corruption and corruption-related offenses involving Charles Eduahin. 30th October 2023. Mokai is Asem way. There was a video. Now Charles Eduahin edge bribe. Anas here investigations your boy Anthony Cabo D womb, your boy Bawumia D womb. Charles Eduahin was leading the pack. Okay. OSP na yes investigations no. Now OSP investigations we no. And then Obeka say after the investigations because we saw on camera. Na Charles Eduahin edge bribe of $40,000. Anas team no. Now OSP investigations we no. This is what he actually put out. And I am reading from this report. When I'm done with this show, I will publish the whole report. I will watermark it and publish the whole report for every single Ghanaian to read. No matter who the kind of person this OSP is. And the old licky petitions are Chief Justice the Abreno. Make sure who OSP is. Now, Messias. All right, team. So, in this report, this is what OSP wrote. My main kind. Maybe I'm marking a red in 6.14 and 6.15. I say, the undercover agents secretly, audiovisually recorded the entirety of both meetings. In the high political office he occupied, it ought reasonably to have occurred to Mr. Eduahin that his bargain for 20% of the value of the proposed investment, and his receipt of a cash gift of 40,000 United States dollars from the supposed sheikh was outrightly improper. Now, Mr. Eduahin exhibited lack of sound judgment. His claim that he accepted that cash gift to avoid offending the supposed sheikh lies very thinly, and his suggestion of the payment of an appearance fee of 200,000 United States dollars to the vice president was quite reckless, especially as the vice president was unaware of the business he was conducting and had not asked him to demand money of whatever description conducing, and had not taxed him to demand money of whatever description on his behalf. All the indices points to the conclusion that Mr. Eduahin's principal motivation was in his own personal gain through his personal gain, though he intimated to the supposed sheikh that he was driven by the potential developmental benefit to Ghana of the proposed investment. The OSP show on the report say Eduahin decision will take say obeji sika on behalf of Bawumia. Oji sika $40,000. Na all kase in his interview no Eduahin kase o sika oji no sebio ebi okra ojima Bawumia dimu. Ena sebi also oji na oferi shake ntina oji sika no. Ntina oji na osakra ka se oji sika ne se sebi o shake investment obe no Ghana nti na Ghana mu ho do mom na eden e wona kuma mu ntina manage sa sika na se otena sa meeting mienunum nti ono OSP ni chechiri ma se oya investigations no eno na Eduahin ka kire no Eduahin ka say sika $40,000 no any $200,000 na oji no oji no in the name of Bawumia any on one so G 40,000 no oji sika no because one na oferi shake no and secondly na investment na shake say odeba Ghana no hu ni say investment in bebo Ghana pa na ono OSP no investigations no obe hu say eye de eye Eduahin ye no na entwa kwan mu especially the position na occupy edwuma na odi Emma Abain any sebio eye ni position no na nkeni se ogina mu egege saa sika no we OSP ankasa ano asem the investigations no na mekan a kire no ma kire wade. Now when you move to the point 7, the same OSP yen ready ade we na hade point 70, though the conduct of Mr. Eduahin amounts to trading in influence or influence peddling, which is closely associated with corruption, there is no actual criminal prohibition of his acts in respect of which the OSP has a mandate to further act. Though the conduct of Mr. Eduahin amounts to trading in influence or influence peddling, which is closely associated with corruption, there is no actual criminal prohibition of his acts in respect of which the OSP has a mandate to further act. Or say, even though the Eduahin ye no, ene boni etaro ho, etisa bonyo no, a wotie free nam ho. Sika oji wa camera mu a, oji wa Bawumia di mu, ono ankasa so eji ya every shake no, edi semu a, or catch them say through sika waje no or the babe influence say omubenya deal no and ono so ebenya percentage of 20% no ono OSP say or your investigation na hu ewie no ohun say Eduahin bo kro no ben kro no nenso anya kro no when it quacks like a duck, it is not a duck. That is what the OSP wrote in his own report. Maybe chawa idea been there. Point 7, OSP called him, this is what he said. On that reckoning, the special prosecutor directs the closure at this time of the investigation in respect of allegations of corruption and corruption-related offenses involving Charles Eduahin contained in the investigative documentary titled Galamsey Economy, published by Tiger IPI. The investigation may be reopened should the circumstances and further facts so dictate. Or say, from the awatieti nyina ne hwehwemu a waye nyina no ne fapem ne nyina ne say ohun ne say sa investigations are na asene ne team eye ya discover say Eduahin gi contract mu 20% gi sika e camera $20,000 and $200,000 no o say sa nyoma ne nyina ne ehun ne say krono ho nsensem ne nyina no ono OSP die ne office no omu hu krono bia wom na emom no se imbre bi beba na se omu hu ne se krono wo mu die a omu be se biem na se sie ni manim he pa de ono ne office ne de omu nheda hu krono bia Eduahin occupies our position now wabo we OSP ankasa the investigations in 2023 into a closely investigations no my kind of last paragraph on chometra dey be the non-prohibition of most predicate acts of corruption and corruption-related offenses engenders impunity of malevolent conduct and the erosion of democratic tenets, which spawn formidable hurdles. And the other say, "You give you hey." In so what you just be Mr. P. Makaya de nasre. In question let me take it again. Making grab me one or see the non-prohibition of most predicate acts of corruption and corruption-related offenses and genders impunity of malevolent conduct and the erosion of democratic tenets, which spawn formidable hurdles in the fight against corruption, especially in the public sector. On this score, the OSP calls for the passage of a Corrupt Practice Act to comprehensively codify the prohibition of all form of corruption. Further, the OSP joins up with the positively persistent. Just say, yeah, Mama Zankai they say the OSP the chair the or see you go be a debia your friend a Corrupt Practice Act. Eduahin abo krono de so onko hwehwemu no or say Eduahin bo krono 40,000 na wagire nya krono 200,000 or Jesus come Bawumia na krono na emomo no my advice say you be what we call Practice Act, Corruption Practice Act. And no brofo no mame san kan biem me ya mekere wade be kusi Agyabeng oye azache obia mame kan last one he's playing with grammar ohun se mo agimi mame san kan biem o say so am for enne de yewura class o for bekwa for obi anya di na enne de medwom enne de mesia. The non-prohibition of most predicate acts of corruption and corruption-related offenses engenders impunity of malevolent conduct and the erosion of democratic tenets, which spawn formidable hurdle in the fight against corruption, especially in the public sector. On this score, the OSP calls for the passage of a Corrupt Practice Act to comprehensively codify the prohibition of all forms of corruption. The okay say, the way who any the way any no Obama Ghana futu say anka ye bibia ye frɛ no ɛyɛ Corrupt Practice Act. And no brofo no. The ochotwere nyina obeso kyerɛ say oh why investigations na wie Eduahin je 40,000 bia 40,000 oje na nya krono 200,000 na nya krono inte Eduahin de ombo krono bia onko owie na ka say ye ne enko bie ade ye frɛ no Corrupt Practice Act. We are point 7 further actions. Now mama nkyerɛ wade owie saa de we na oka sansem we kyerɛ ewie no owie na oka sɛ Eduahin bɔ krono Mamenka bibi nkyerɛ allegedly OSP took money from Charles Eduahin before he wrote this report. Allegedly, from my source. He took money from Charles Eduahin before writing this report. And when he took that money, the AG then, Godfredame, got a hint of it and contacted and confronted OSP. Godfredame heard that Charles Eduahin had paid money to OSP to write the report in his favor. And when Godfredami got note of that, he confronted OSP and asked him, said, did you take money from Charles Eduahin? But there was something. Because of the fear. You see, the reason why Eduahin, Godfredami did not follow up or did not push was because he knew, say, it was going to come back to bite the government. It was going to expose the Kufuor government. Inti Godfredami approached OSP say, I have evidence that you took money from Eduahin, and it's now trust our report to the OSP told Godfredami say yes he did, but Godfredami could not push because he was also protecting his government. If that had come out, na Ghana for nyina be say Kufuor is a corrupt government. Into Godfredami also kept it quiet. Allegedly, that is what my source is telling me. But my mention when they hear me, OSP investigations in nyina no. I catch as a Charles Eduahin had 40,000, any 200,000. Ekoma Bawumia no onbo krono. The enko be act no. This is what he did. After he wrote the report and told us, said Charles Eduahin onbo krono no. Then ofa echire ena ochro letter de come Charles Eduahin. What did he write? I mean reading chiro. November 3rd, 2023. I mean can for win chiro. Wait, 30th October 2023. Into him or releasing the final report on the 30th of October 2023, right? Or releasing report in the 3rd of November. Report no or releasing report on the 30th of October, right? And I'll catch a Ghana for say Eduahin ball chrono. Why did $40,000? Why did $200,000 on ball chrono? In Tienko be act yatiasie. October no closing file no or say and one on the case die. Eduahin ko. Fine. Now Owie no. What did he do? Just on the 3rd of November, and on OS spiritual letter come Eduahin. What did he write? Mami reading chiro. OSP wrote to Eduahin, and what he wrote was this. He said, in direction to attend the office of the special prosecutor, Charles Eduahin, first for grip, close, blah, 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 blah. Now, by a letter dated 15 December 2022, you were directed to attend the office of the special prosecutor, OSP, as a necessary person in respect of an investigation into suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses contained in an investigative documentary titled Galamsey Economy, published by Tiger IPI and the investigative journalist Anas Arabia Anas. By an investigation report attached, the special prosecutor has directed the closure of the investigations at this time. The investigation may be reopened should the circumstances and further facts so dictate. You are directed to disgorge yourself of the cash amount of $40,000 you received as a gift from the undercover agents who undertook the documentary by depositing the cash sum at the OSP at Haile Selassie Avenue, South Ridge, Accra, on or before close of business, Monday, 20th November 2023. Signed, Kissi Agyabeng. O close investigations in Vienna. And or letter koma eye Eduahin say. Macleo, Makacha Ghana for say, Sikana Oji and any bribe. $40,000 now Oji and bribe. In fact, Ghana Fonko be act. O we no letter come Eduahin say for 40,000 Fabra in cash. Kissi Agyabeng. O clear Eduahin we no. Ah, Kacha Ghana for say ye Jimmy Eduahin ball chrono. Now investigations now or your investigations in your no. We want to say $40,000 no G no and your chrono. But no on the 3rd of November and not sure letter come Eduahin catch Eduahin say. Sasi kana ye investigating one me catch Ghana for sa umbo chrono no. Sasi kana fabremi. Now the question here is so we see Eduahin what clear no in your report in your investigations say he did not commit any crime. Why are you asking for that money? Because if that money so G and your chrono no boy, why you the OSP office demanding that money? Why were you taking the money? If the money he took in the first place in the documentary wasn't a crime. So what were you taking the money for? And he's taking the money in cash. It technically, Eduahin sikana oji and fabra cash na minkodi. Because you have told us in your report in October that Eduahin sikana oji no, sa sika oji no, ombo krono. Sa sika no, baby anywhere chess obo krono was a prosecutor no, into Eduahin nante. Uwi was have a chole tame Eduahin over 40,000 nembra. Now 40,000 na oji no, ombo krono had over $40,000 nembra. This is OSP's letter. The question here is, why didn't he tell us that he was demanding this money from Eduahin? Why didn't he write in his report that because Eduahin did not commit a crime, I am going to tell Eduahin to bring the money, or he did not commit a crime, so we are not going to take any money from him? Why didn't he write that in his report? Why didn't the kissi Agyabeng one country say Eduahin ambo krono into sika na ehu so ogene enye krono sika? I didn't know one country Ghana. Now, a such letter will come to Eduahin. I didn't want in country Ghana for say, Sasikana, you say Eduahin, just a bribe, $40,000. Why didn't he tell us? Why did he even tell Eduahin to even bring it as cash? Cash at the OSP's office to go and deposit at where? Why is the OSP taking cash? Why? The OSP, everything about him is corrupt. Kissi Agyabeng, every single thing about Kissi Agyabeng is corrupt. Be a born who be a corruption born who. This letter alone should send Kissi Agyabeng home. I have more. This letter alone. Because when a committee is put together, they will ask you in your own investigation. You can say because the first one I read this one. You said it clearly in there. You said, in a high political office he occupied, it ought reasonably to have occurred to Mr. Eduahin that his bargain for 20% of the value of the proposed investment and his receipt of a cash gift of 40,000 United States dollars from the supposed sheikh was outrightly improper. Mr. Eduahin exhibited lack of sound judgment. His claim that he accepted the cash gift to avoid offending the supposed sheikh lies very thinly, and his suggestion of the payment of an appearance fee of 200,000 United States dollars to the vice president was quite reckless, especially as the vice president was unaware of the business he was conducting and had not taxed him to demand money of whatever description on his behalf. All the indices point to the conclusion that Mr. Eduahin's principal motivation was his own personal gain, though he intimated to the supposed sheikh that he was driven by potential developmental benefits to Ghana of the proposed investment. Now, over the next letter I read to you, you said, though the conduct of Mr. Eduahin amounts to trading in influence or influence peddling, which is closely associated with corruption, there is no actual criminal prohibition of his acts. There is no actual criminal prohibition of his acts, in respect of which the OSP has a mandate to further act. So his action, the money he took, the OSP, after your investigation, you came to the conclusion that he did not commit a crime. Now, if the OSP, after your investigations, you told us his actions that we all saw on camera did not amount to corruption or corruption-related any nonsense, why then do you write a letter to Eduahin to bring you the $40,000? For what? What crime has he committed? What crime has Eduahin committed for you, Kissi Agyabeng, to call him, to send a letter to him to present the cash to you? And you were demanding the cash after your investigations was done. And in your own letter, you told him that you are still thinking if it is necessary to open the investigations. You were threatening him. You were threatening him. So Brofuna or Chokome Eduahin in this letter, he was telling him, say, one for cash number, maybe investigations, no. That's what he was doing, because when you read the letter, let me expand it. I think the first paragraph. by a letter, or say, by an investigation report attached, the special prosecutor has directed the closure of the investigation at this time. The investigation may be reopened should the circumstances and further facts so dictate. So technically, Kissi Agyabeng is telling Eduahin, say, if you don't adhere to what I'm trying to do with you, if you don't follow what I am saying, I have the power to open the investigations again. So pay me the 40,000 and let me close the case indefinitely. And that is the code language he was sending Eduahin. And he was demanding the money in cash. That means you still know the guy is guilty. The case can still be dealt. You can still delve deep. You can still find facts. But you have chosen to do what? Stop the investigations. Yes. You are using your own discretion. At that point, you felt you had to stop the investigations because it suits you. It's not because you need to prove to the people of Ghana that you can find rot. But you decide. You, at your own pace, you can choose to end an investigation. And if you feel some things are not done right, if you feel some people are not collaborating, you will reopen the case. So you see, OSP, he decides people's fate or decided. So technically, this language, he was sending a warning to Eduahin and his group. Said $40,000 of Abraham in cash. Why do you demand the money even in cash? Sikanian Fambro in cash. Why are you demanding the money in cash? You see, now, Charles Eduahin and his lawyer wrote a letter to Kissi Agyabeng, and they said they are not going to pay the money. Why didn't he open the case? I am telling Kissi Agyabeng to release that letter, or else I will release it. Kissi Agyabeng, the response from Charles Eduahin, this letter, or the command, the lawyers of Charles Eduahin wrote to you and told you they were not going to release the money. Why didn't you open the case? If you don't release it, I'm giving you a week, I'll release it. Me say, the lawyers of Charles Eduahin, they wrote to Kissi Agyabeng, and I'm catching Kissi Agyabeng say, we are not going to pay the money. Whatever you want to do, do. And Kissi Agyabeng end to me MBA case. Now, I'm telling Kissi Agyabeng, say, release that letter, that response from Eduahin's lawyers. If you don't release that letter, I will release it.